want to thank all of you for coming out again this evening. Seems like I just talked to you earlier and I told you that we'd try to give you an update on any of the events and things coming to pass. As you know, the temperatures outside seem to be increasing, and makes it a little bit harder for the searching for all of our people. So we've kind of come to a decision, since this is the second day of the search, that at 8 o'clock the civilian search parties will stop at 8 p.m. this evening. At 8 p.m. the regular emergency service personnel will continue the search, and that means the state police, that means the fire department, any emergency services. At that time we're going to have the flare plane to go out, and that's why we're going to use our emergency services people to take care of this. This will continue until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. At 6 o'clock we are going to stop all civilian search and rescue people who volunteer to come. We're going to only use our emergency services people for tomorrow. Because of the high temperatures today, we had 3 that was taken to the hospital in Effingham and 7 others who were looked at by EMS. Because of that, my fear is that we don't want to lose anybody during this hot weather. And emergency service people are continually trained to combat this type of weather, and none of them were ill or sick, and they continued to search. So for the safety and the sake of all the civilians, we figure that we will just use our emergency service people from this point on. So at 8 o'clock tonight, the civilian search parties will cease, and we will continue with our emergency service people at that time. Are there any questions you might have?
You plan to go through the night starting at 8 o'clock with your trained responders?
Yes, that is correct. Because we're going to have the flare plane to fly, and naturally you know that to do the flare plane we need as much of the people drawn back so they can do a search of these areas. And at that time they notify us whenever they get a hit on something, and we go out and we search that area, wherever that might be.
How many responders will continue after 8 tonight?
We haven't decided to get a head count yet, but they're still coming in. We put out the word, so we'll see at 8 o'clock how many that we have of our emergency services that have responded to that. But it will be an all-night thing that we will continue as the investigation continues.
I know this plan is changing by the hour, but what do we expect tomorrow? Need civilians or no?
No civilians tomorrow. The emergency services, just because of what happened today, what are they telling us? The temperature is going to rise tomorrow even higher than it was today. So that's why we decided to go to the emergency services only at this time.
Can civilians still come and help you in any way? You know people are going to want to help.
I know they're going to want to help. A lot of times that they kind of get in the way more than they are a help. But if we get a situation or find something in our investigation that we feel that we need to call out the civilians, we will do that through the news media, through the newspaper, through the radio.
Any leads? I know you've gotten a few here or there, but nothing solid. Any evidence, anything pointing you in any direction?
Nothing has changed from our last interview, unfortunately. You know, I always like to have good news, and unfortunately at this moment I have no more than what I had when I spoke to you earlier today. But we continue to hope, and we continue that maybe tonight with the flare plane that we will come up with something more solid.
One flare plane?
One flare plane.
Whose is that?
That's the Illinois State Police is furnishing the flare plane for us. And if you notice today, they had flown over with the plane earlier in the morning. As the day gets hot, you know, the flare doesn't work at all. So
how long will they have to wait through the night in order for the flare plane to be able to pick up, say, in a cornfield?
Well, as the temperature cools off, you know, I mean, later is better. I would say probably around 10 o'clock that we're really going to start using the flare planes. The fields start cooling down a little bit, and we get a better image. at that time. So that's what we'll probably be shooting for, is about 10 o'clock.
How long will your search efforts continue before this transitions to more of a recovery?
We kind of do this as a day-by-day basis. It's hard to determine and say, okay, now we're going from one to another. So we just hopeful that we can accomplish what we want today and let's worry about tomorrow.
How are your spirits?
Well, everybody's tired. You know, I was trying to think how much sleep I've got myself, you know, but the spirit is still there. We're tired, but we don't give up. And that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
How's Bella's mother? Okay, Bella's mom.
She's doing as well as can be expected, you know. I mean, you got to keep that hope going, and that's what we want.
This is one of the largest search efforts I think we've seen here in the state in a while, at least in central Illinois, especially with a lot of missing kids we've seen lately. Any comment on why or how it got this large with so many volunteers, so many people stepping up to want to help, things like that?
It's kind of interesting because, you know, I've been in law enforcement 37 years. And when something like this happens, it's something unexpected. It's not something we count on. It's not something we practice for. It's not something that we think is going to happen, because we never want an incident like this to ever happen. To no parent, to no family, we don't want this ever to happen. But I think what you see now is, for my first time, as large as this was, how many people have come out. I mean, we're talking about over 300 people today, and the same was yesterday. You'd think that they get tired, you'd think that they would want to go home and do it, they just keep coming. So it's a large scale. I mean, it's something that I've never experienced before, but to see the people come together and want to accomplish what we are accomplishing today is amazing, and I think it has a lot to say for the community and for our surrounding counties that step up. Because you look out here of all the different counties and state police and DNA, and you know, they're all here. They're my phone's ringing all the time. Can we come and help you? I got a call from Shelby County a while ago. Our men are available. So it's amazing to see everybody get together for one cause, and that's good. Okay.
How far out has the search grid gone?
We've covered several miles.
I think the whole 20 square foot we initially started with has been covered. We initially started with a 20 square foot area, and I believe that has all been covered at least one time at this point.
Square miles?
Square miles, 20 square miles.
So it was at 18, now it's at 20.
Yeah.
Do you plan to make that radius any bigger than the 20? Are you going to go beyond that at all?
That's one of the things that the flare plane is really good at, that the areas that we couldn't touch on foot, is that the plane can reach out a little bit farther than we can. So that's what we're using the flare plane, to be able to reach out a little bit farther too. But we also want to be able to check some of the areas back in the area of Watson and surrounding too. But the plane is good that it can cover a lot of territory in a short period of time.